Today might go down as the day that Donald J. Trump outsmarted the Federal Reserve while delivering a geopolitical checkmate in Ukraine that no one thought was possible. Now, on one side, you got Jerome Powell standing up in Jackson Hole, trying to act like he's still in control, refusing to hint at rate cuts. Meanwhile, families are drowning in debt, housing becomes more unaffordable than ever, and bankruptcies pile up faster than they did during the pandemic. Well, Jerome Powell says it's about credibility. But is it really? Or is it just when he's playing politics to deny President Trump a win? And on the other side, you got Trump, the president of the United States, walking into the Oval Office and forcing Europe, Zelensky, and yes, even Vladimir Putin into a peace deal that nobody believed could ever happen. No U.S. troops on the ground, thousands of lives saved every single week. Folks, that's not weakness. That is strategy. That's clearly leadership. That's compassion for human life. But here's where it gets explosive. The markets are already rattling. Consumer debt, it's spiraling. Jerome Powell's refusal to act, this could trigger a crash. Meanwhile, Trump's Ukraine deal is being spun as a surrender by the media. But is it really? I think it possibly could be the ultimate checkmate that forces the global elites to finally admit who's in charge. Now, stick with me, guys, because we're about to break this down step by step, starting with Jerome Powell's Jackson Hole speech and the tension with Trump. Guys, then we need to talk about the truth behind Trump's Ukraine deal that just shocked the world, and finally, how all of this ties into the battles over our elections and political maps right back here at home. So you're going to completely understand exactly why Trump and how he outsmarted the Fed, why the markets are on edge of a crash right now, and why Ukraine has been put into a checkmate by a deal that nobody saw coming. So if you appreciate the news updates, please click the like button and subscribe. All right, guys, this is August 2025, and it's getting wilder and wilder. Okay, so America stands at a crossroads today. On the one side, you got an economy at the breaking point. Housing is so freaking unaffordable that families are frozen in place. Debt is piling up. It's suffocating families left and right. Bankruptcies are spiking higher than ever. The bankruptcies are spiking higher than they were during the pandemic. Now, on the other side, you got the war in Ukraine, a war that has already taken hundreds of thousands of lives, with 5,000 to 7,000 people dying every single week because of this thing. And Europe is now begging Donald Trump for a deal that ends the bloodshed. So here's the thesis of today's story, okay? Trump is forcing solutions while Powell stalls and global elites panic. And if you think that is an exaggeration, wait till you see how both sides are playing their cards. So let's start with Jerome Powell versus Trump, shall we? Rate cuts or politics? So at Jackson Hole, Jerome Powell, he stood tall at the podium, insisting he wouldn't signal a rate. All right. He's basically like got his poker face on, and he's insisting that he is not going to give any kind of clue as to whether or not there's going to be a rate cut. He tried to frame it as independence, credibility, staying above the politics, that kind of thing, right? But let me tell you what that really means in the real world. It means Jerome Powell is shrugging while families are drowning in 7% mortgages. Businesses cannot borrow money to buy new machinery or to hire new workers, and consumers are maxing out their credit cards just to buy groceries. Meanwhile, Trump, our president right now, he's pressing hard for cheaper capital. He's saying, look, give Americans relief, give Main Street a chance to breathe, give this economy oxygen before the fire burns it down. But Powell, he's stonewalling. So here's the situation, guys, and we kind of have to wrestle with this one, okay? Powell, let me ask you, is Jerome Powell being responsible, or is he just deliberately sabotaging the American people just to deny Trump a win? Now think about it, okay? Last year at Jackson Hole, Powell pivoted dovish. I mean, he rolled out these 50 basis point bazooka cuts. Y'all remember that, right? This was when Joe Biden was in office and Kamala Harris was starting to run, and nobody questioned his independence then. He can move when he wants to. So why doesn't he move now, right? Like, why is it that when Trump is asking for action, Powell is all of a sudden just kind of like, we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see. This is the clash, guys. This is the clash, ladies and gentlemen. Trump, the patriot that's fighting for affordable homes, jobs, and relief for working families, versus Powell, the unelected federal chairman, banker, unelected banker who's more worried about saving face than saving Americans. Now, trust me, guys, this tension doesn't end at Jackson Hole, because when you connect Jerome Powell's stall taxes to the housing market and to the consumer crisis that we're experiencing, that's unfolding right now, the stakes get even higher. But before I break down how housing is now more unaffordable than ever, why bankruptcies are imploding, and why Main Street is being sacrificed while Wall Street gets protected, let me ask you this. Do you really think Jerome Powell is protecting his credibility, or is he sabotaging Americans just to defy Trump? I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below. So have you ever wondered what your plan isn't telling you? I mean, seriously, more people don't know that hidden costs like drug formulas, they're changing, or they're, how about surprise out-of-network charges? All of this stuff is eating into their retirement money every year, and it's really unfair. This is why I partner with Chapter, because their advisors, they don't just review one or two plans. They actually review every plan available nationwide. There's like 24,000 options out there. It's unbelievable that they expect anyone to be able to make a smart choice. So anyway, Chapter reviews every single plan out there nationwide to uncover what you're missing. People like Leslie Taylor, she found out that she was overpaying by $1,000 a year. Others realized that their prescriptions could be covered for less. And so here's the question, like, how much could you save if you uncovered the same hidden costs in your plan? Now, most people, they're already finding out by calling the number at the bottom of the screen down below, 909-563-8279, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. Do not be the one that's still overpaying while everyone else has gotten smarter and is saving money. So I'll leave the number for you guys down below. So let's talk about the housing and consumer crisis, because this is really where Jerome Powell's refusal is. It's really starting to hit home, literally. So right now, existing homes are around $33,000 more expensive than new homes. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because millions of Americans locked in 3% mortgage rates just a year but maybe 2 years ago now. And they would have to literally swap that out for a 7% mortgage today if they decided to move or buy a new home. So who the heck would want to do that? Nobody in their right mind would want to get out of their 3%, 2% interest rate mortgage, right? So the market is frozen. Families are trapped. They're unable to move. They're unable to sell. They're unable to buy. And it doesn't stop there if you think about it. Adjustable rate mortgages. These are crushing homeowners and commercial real estate investors. People are saying to me, hey, I don't know how much longer I can hold on. Is anybody watching the show right now wondering the same thing? How much longer can you hold on? This is not a Wall Street statistic. This is real people watching their payments balloon out of control. Insurance rates going up, HOA fees going up, property taxes going up. It's insane. Meanwhile, in July alone, 71 corporate bankruptcies were filed. Now, let me repeat that. 71 corporate bankruptcies in 1 month. This is higher than during the peak pandemic, guys. And in the first 7 months of the year, 446 bankruptcies. I mean, you can call that whatever you want, but to me, this certainly sounds like an economy that's on the verge of a collapse. Now, Trump sees it clearly. This is Main Street versus Wall Street, and he's saying cut rates, give Americans some breathing room, stop the bleeding. Jerome Powell, on the other hand, though, he's letting the pain drag on, letting more families, more businesses, more jobs collapse by the day. And so here's really where it ties into Trump's broader economic plan. Tariffs, taxes, and the Fed's timing problem, okay? Now, let's be real. Trump's tariffs, they're hitting right now, okay? They're creating short-term pain. Groceries, imports, consumer goods. Yes, prices are just a hair higher, but Trump designed it this way because on the back end, his one big beautiful bill delivers tax relief that more than offsets these costs. Now, here's the problem. Jerome Powell is refusing to cut rates, which means families are getting hit by tariffs and sky-high borrowing costs. Economists are calling it a timing problem. Trump says Americans can handle a little bit of short-term pain if it saves jobs, protects supply chains, and forces foreign powers like China to play fair. Now, Jerome Powell, he shrugs and says, hey, look, it's not my problem. Now, here's a question I'm going to leave you guys with before we move on. Who's really fighting for the American worker? Is it Trump, who takes the short-term heat so families and businesses can win in the long run? Or is it Powell, who hides behind credibility while the markets tremble and Americans suffer and suffocate under all this debt? Well, folks, if you think that the standoff is dramatic, wait until you see what's happening on the global stage. Because while Jerome Powell's dragging his feet over there in the Federal Reserve overpriced building, Trump is pulling off a global geopolitical move in Ukraine that has the media basically calling a surrender. But in reality, this is actually the ultimate checkmate. So I want to kind of pivot for a second overseas, because while Jerome Powell's dragging his feet at Jackson Hole, President Trump is actually pulling off something that has the entire world completely stunned, what I call the Ukraine checkmate. So just yesterday, Trump assured the American people no U.S. troops will be sent to Ukraine. None. Zero. Instead, if a peace deal is signed, only European forces will be stationed along that new border. Now, here's the kicker. For the first time since the war began, even the big EU powers and Zelensky himself are falling in line, recognizing that cutting a deal with Putin is the only way out of this endless bloodshed. Now, think about the symbolism of this here, okay? You got EU leaders literally waiting outside the Oval Office like students outside the principal's office, right? Trump is clearly in charge. The dynamic is crystal clear here. And the deal terms, guys, they're nothing short of historic. Ukraine may cede some of the land that Russia already controls. Russia halts the war and freezes Russia halts the war and frees Ukrainian prisoners of war. And Europe steps up with NATO-like security guarantees, but with no U.S. boots on the ground. So, guys, I don't know about you, but this is absolutely brilliant. Trump gets peace, secures Ukraine's future, and ultimately saves thousands of lives, all without sending American lives or American treasure. I love it. This is called strategy, guys. This is called leadership. Now, of course, the media rushed to frame this as if Trump is surrendering to Putin. Okay, but here's the truth. It's not a surrender. It's salvation. 5,000 to 7,000 people are dying every single week. Hello? Trump is trying to end all of that. That's not weakness. This is common sense and compassion, okay? That's moral clarity. This is Trump standing up for humanity when nobody else is willing to do that. And so this kind of brings us right into Trump's true motivation. Because when asked why he's pushing this deal so hard, Trump said something that really just kind of cut straight through the politics. He said, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, maybe that'll count for something with the man upstairs. Now, drop a quick comment down below if you understand what Trump meant by the man upstairs. He also went in to say that I want to get to heaven if possible. And maybe this is one of those reasons why. Okay. Now, you tell me you tell me, guys, does this sound like a man that's chasing some political points here? Or does this sound like a president who is guided by something higher, by saving lives? Now, I want to stack that next to Jerome Powell, who's clearly playing politics with interest rates while families buckle under the weight of debt. But who looks more like a leader here? Who looks more like a patriot? Who looks more like somebody who's fighting for the people? Now, here's where it all kind of ties together, because while Trump is pulling off these global breakthroughs, he's also battling at home to secure America's elections. And what's happening right now with the mail-in ballots, the voting machines, and redistricting maps in Texas and California, oh, this is going to blow your mind. So let's bring it all back home here, because while Trump is negotiating peace abroad, he's also going to war here over the future of elections. Now, just this week, Trump unveiled what he's calling his 911 effort, an emergency push to end mail-in voting in voting machines before the 2026 midterms. Now, he says the only way to secure elections is to return to paper ballots with watermarks, counted on the same day, so there's no doubt about who won and who lost when the sun sets on election day, right? Now, let me tell you guys, the Democrats are panicking. They're furious. Mark Elias, their number one election attorney guy. This is the same guy who's tied to the Perkins Coie law firm that Trump already beat in court, called this a 5-alarm fire. They know if Trump pulls this off, their mail-in ballot machine is absolutely finished. But it doesn't stop there, because at the same time, 2 states are already redrawing the battlefield maps. In Texas, Republicans finalized their new congressional maps. Look at it. I mean, like, only a few tiny specks of blue even remain. Those dense urban centers, 5 Democrat seats, they're now in jeopardy. But in California, Gavin Newsom is trying something outrageous, suspending his own state's constitution in order to redraw maps mid-decade. Why? To wipe out the 12 Republican seats right before the 2026 elections. This isn't redistricting, guys. This is raw power. It is gerrymandering on steroids. And here's the tension. Both sides now accuse the other of destroying democracy. Trump says Democrats are cheating the ballots, or cheating with ballots and machines. Democrats are saying Republicans are cheating with maps. So the question is, which side is actually fighting for democracy and which side is bending the rules in order to claim the power? Congressman Kevin Kelly from California, he called Gavin Newsom's scheme a threat to democracy, reminding voters that Californians set up independent citizens commissions to prevent this very thing that's happening right now. 2/3 of the state, Democrats, Republicans, independents, are all saying they're all saying that they support this particular commission. And yet Gavin Newsom wants to blow it all up. Folks, this is turning into a race to the bottom. Texas is redrawing their maps. California is redrawing their maps. And now states like Indiana, Ohio, and Florida are watching very closely, ready to jump in before the midterms. So here's where we are, guys. Trump is pushing for fair paper ballots, while Democrats push for permanent ballot harvesting. Republicans in Texas are securing their advantage. Meanwhile, Democrats in California are rewriting the Constitution in order to hang on to power. And all of this brings us right back to the final conflict: Trump's strategy versus Powell's stubbornness. Because as Trump is reshaping the world and fights for election integrity, Powell's stall tactics may be driving us straight into a market crash. And the question that we have to ask right now is Powell really protecting the economy, or is he just protecting himself from Trump? So here we are, guys. On the one side, you got Jerome Powell sitting at Jackson Hole, stubborn as ever, clinging to his so-called independence, refusing to even hint at relief for the American people with a rate cut. And what's the result? Long-term interest rates creeping higher, deficits exploding past $1.8 trillion this year, and more than $100 billion in monthly interest payments just to service the debt. That ain't even paying it down. Markets are already rattling, on the verge of collapse. Jerome Powell's stall tactics they're pushing us closer and closer to a market crash, guys. Now, on the other side, you got President Donald J. Trump. While Powell hesitates, Trump acts. While Powell hides behind credibility, Trump secures peace in Ukraine, saving 7,000 lives a week. While Powell ignores Main Street, Trump is fighting for fair elections, for integrity at the ballot box, for Americans to actually trust the results in 2026. So think about that contrast. Powell, unelected banker, playing games with America's future. Trump, elected by the people, forcing breakthroughs abroad, fighting for honesty at home, and showing the compassion to say, hey, look, if I can save lives, that's worth more than politics. So the question I'm going to leave you guys with tonight is this: is Powell really protecting the economy, or is he just protecting himself from Trump? Because one thing is very clear. Trump has outsmarted the Fed. He outmaneuvered the global elites, and he's delivered a Ukraine checkmate that the world didn't think was possible. And make no mistake, the fight is not over. Markets are trembling. The 2026 midterms are right around the corner. And the same establishment forces that fear Trump abroad, they fear him even more at home. So stay tuned, guys, because this story is only getting bigger, and YouTube already believes that you're going to enjoy the next video that just popped up on your screen here. Do not miss it, guys. It connects directly to everything we just covered. And trust me, you're going to want to see that. I'll see you on the other side.